Okay, so welcome to this Math 117 college algebra. Basically, what you need to know, 71 here is we're recording, the important thing at this particular time, and trust me on this, that I have your best interest in mind, is you're going to learn more about how this system works just by going through and working through it. So what I'm going to show you one more again about the initial knowledge check. I'm going to see how many of us have completed that. Let's see. Look at some of my. So we've got 75 people that are listed in the ALEKS course. And I think we've got over 100 that are registered for the course. So there's still about, let's see, let me make sure on that. Yeah, we have 103 students. So there's about 28 of you who still need to do the crossover from Canvas to the course. Some of you who have done that still need to do your initial knowledge check. I'm just trying to give people a little more time to get in here. So you'll do your initial knowledge check, and then once that's completed, you're just going to keep moving forward by starting your path or continuing your path. You're going to work topics, and that's all you're going to focus on this week. There's something called problem sets. We'll worry about those later. I haven't even posted them yet, so don't worry. Let's do this. Which one is this? This is the right course. I'm going to share my screen. I'm going to go into student mode. So this is, let's see if I can see some faces. Okay, you guys are kind of a quiet bunch. I look at my other students, they're all going in the chat room. Maybe that's where you're all talking, in the chat room, which is great. That's great. Just make sure. So we have participants. And nothing in the chat yet. Okay. So from here, again, as soon as you come in, there is this intro to navigating ALEKS. That will give you some videos on how to move through ALEKS. But again, that doesn't make any sense or little sense until you actually just start doing it. So what I want you to do is to click on Go to ALEKS if you haven't already. If you've done this, that's great. Go to ALEKS. The first time you do this, it's going to ask you these questions, and you're going to leave it at no. I have never used ALEKS before, at least from this Canvas account, okay? Because what it's needing to do is to match your Canvas account with ALEKS. So you continue, it will take this information, move it forward to ALEKS, okay? Which is our homework system. It's also the system that has the tests in it, okay? I'm going to jump over to here. I'm going to go to student view, and I'm going to enter student view. I think this is one that I've got set up. This is, okay, so this is what it looks like when you've finished all your topics. So I don't want to do that one. I want to show you, I've got another course I go into. I think the morning course, I didn't do all the topics. So, and I can click some buttons to make all that happen. So you have to actually work through all the topics. Okay, so let's go to this one. Okay, this one. still did pretty well, 186 topics. Now, some of you starting with 0 topics, and I have a lot of students who start with 0 topics and they make it all the way through. This course is actually paced for people to start with 0 topics, okay? We'll get you up and running and we'll get you there, okay? However, some of you, maybe this is more of a review course, you were trying to get in maybe the pre-calculus or the calculus, but you didn't quite make it in the placement numbers, so they had you do this course. So you might start with higher or lower, but what I want to show you is once you do your initial knowledge check, there's this button here, Start My Path. There's really nothing to submit as far as assignments. You just come in and you start working on problems like this. And Alex will determine what problems you need to work on, okay, depending upon how you did on your initial knowledge check. You work through them. Again, there are some resources over here. There's instructor resources. Let's see what's there. Finding inputs and outputs. So there's some videos, Objective 5 instructional videos. So you could try some of these. There's also this video link. You click on that. Lecture for definition of rational domain and range. Again, some videos you can watch here. There's also the ebook, and it will jump you into the place where you're, what you're currently working on. So if you like reading the book, there's the ebook, and it's a resource. Okay, keep working. One of the things you're going to want to do is to look at the reports. So there's these 3 lines, these 3 horizontal lines at the top left. When you click on them, you get a drop-down menu and reports. That's going to be an important thing to take a look at. So click on reports. This will report your progress in the ALEKS homework system. And again, for right now, for this week, this is all there is in the world all there is in this particular course. All you have to do is come in, work on topics, answer math questions. And again, figure out how to get the resources to go through and get there. So one of the things that shows you your ALEKS pie, and it shows you your progress as far as along the objectives. So for me, because I clicked the button, it says I've got 100% of Objective 1 done. This is telling me I'm ready to take Test 1. And when I get there like this, I should take Test 1. You complete all the ALEKS topics. Does that mean you complete the class? Yes, as long as you complete all the ALEKS topics and the 4 exams. Then you are done with the class. And it can happen anywhere along this semester. And for those of you who maybe, it might take you a little longer, I can even, if you're working consistently, I can even extend it into the December break if need be. So sometimes that helps. All the classes, other classes are done. You maybe have a couple weeks over the winter break. We can make that happen. And if another semester is needed, this course is actually set up that you can have 2 semesters to complete it, okay? For no cost, no additional tuition costs at least. There might be a course fee, but there are no tuition costs because you'd get a 0 credit course. So we've got a lot of options here. But yes, that's the idea is you finish, you complete Objective 1, 100%, you take Test 1. Okay, you study for it and then you take it. Then you continue, you work on Objective 2, and Alex will do this. The topics in here in Objective 2, you'll work on it. When that's completed, you're ready to study for and take Test 2. Then you move on to Test 3, Objective 3, you work on the topics. And here's the deal, that the test questions come directly out of the topics you're working on as homework. Okay, so the same questions you're working on are going to be, those questions will be on the test, just the numbers will be changed slightly. But you'll probably even recognize, hey, I know I did these problems before. Yes, you did. I guarantee you, because you will work all 307 topics. On the test, there's 11 questions on the first, 11 on the second test, 11 on the third test. And then there's 16 questions on the fourth test, which is the final exam. The final exam, 1/3 comes from objective 2, 1/3 from objective 3, and about 1/3 from objective 4. So you notice once you're done with objective 1, you will not be tested on it again. Okay? So, and then the other thing you'll see is from your initial knowledge check, if you scored some, you may have some in these further objectives. Like it gave me some in objective 3. I've already got 39 of them done. So sometimes they're spread out over the total pie. Okay. Questions at this point? Any questions? Either through the chat or unmute. You can unmute your mic and just holler out.
I have a question.
Thank you.
So each week we should be getting like I'm starting from I think I got like a 2% on my assessment.
Okay.
So if I'm really low, I should be getting like 35 topics a week, or what's that going to look like?
No, actually, if you look on the syllabus, the first week, because they actually give you over this weekend and next weekend, this coming weekend through Sunday, they have 35 topics. But after that, let's look at our syllabus, because that's a good thing to bring up. And can you see the Canvas course now?
Say again?
Can you see the on the screen? Are you seeing the Canvas course and then now the syllabus?
Yes.
Okay. So the way they designed this course, I'm going to get down to that page. This one here. Actually, let me download it and open up the full PDF so we can do it full screen. Notice this plan is done with the fact that you start with 0 topics. That's what it's planned for. So if you scored whatever above that, that's extra. But if you scored 0, you're right in the right place. Okay. So then 35 topics this first week, you're on track. 25 the next, 20, 25, 25. So yeah, about 25 a week. Some weeks are only 20 because they have a holiday, so they give you a day off. But notice you will build from 0 all the way to 307, and you'll actually do that a week before the class ends. So these goals, if you're in this last week's goal was only let's see, per week. Yeah, so we get down here 15, 17, 10 at the end. And that still gets you done a week early. Now sometimes you'll get the topics done, say 35. You will still get things called a progress knowledge check. So you still get knowledge checks throughout the course. And what that does is it takes the stuff that you just learned and it tests you on it. So look at them as practice tests. If you get it correct, it puts it as mastered. And if it's incorrect, it throws it back and says, you need to work on this some more. And so you get to practice with it some more. So sometimes you'll learn a topic, you'll get credit for it, but then it gets thrown back into the pool to work again. Yeah, you can finish before the 4th of December. You could finish next week if you got if you had 307. I see people getting it done. There's one good goal, depending upon where you're at, but maybe shooting to get it done in 8 weeks. And then I will actually post your test. If you can get the topics done, take 4 tests, I can post your grade to your ASU roster, your transcript. That will allow you to take the next class that this is the prerequisite for during the B session. That is possible, okay? It's all based upon what you're able to do. So good. So you just kind of keep moving forward. So there is an advantage. If you can get more done, that's great. But what I want you to focus on is focus on really learning it, because as you work through these, if you learn them and you keep that with you, and you're not just getting through things and sort of skimming over things and then taking an exam and forgetting it and moving forward, because all of this stuff will come back in your next math class. And I'm assuming now there's probably a few of you who don't have a next math class, but some of you, most of you should have like either college algebra. So this is college algebra. You'll have pre-calculus, which is 170, or you'll have 210, which is brief calculus for business. We are allowed to use a calculator on all the topics in ALEKS, yes. So you can use your own calculator all the time. Sometimes ALEKS gives you a calculator to use, sometimes it doesn't, but again, you're always welcome to use a calculator, yes. I'm gonna go into my learn mode and let's see. ALEKS does have a calculator, you can click here. So sometimes it gives it to you, sometimes it doesn't. We encourage you to use your own calculator, mainly because that's what you take to your next class. You're not going to have ALEKS in your next class, so learning to use your calculator. Okay. So what determines your grade? Let's take a look. Syllabus tells us everything. There's all that. Where's the grades? Did I go past them? Here it is. I did go past them. Okay, so for grades, this is the breakdown, the weighted. So by doing the 300 ALEKS Pi topic progress, so that's your 307 topics. You complete all of them, you get, that affects 10% of your grade. Yes. The topic goals, the weekly topic goals, making each of those gets you another 15%. So by being on track with your ALEKS topics, you're going to get 25% of your grade would be at 100%. You will also earn your participation points, so that moves it up to 30%, basically just for working through the ALEKS topics on a timely basis. And then problem sets, those are something we'll talk about in a couple weeks. They're printed things that you write out. We'll go through those together. That'll get you another 10% of your grade. And then finally, the rest of your grade is determined by how you do on the exams in ALEKS. But remember, the exam questions come from the homework. So if you're understanding the homework, the practice tests will get you there. You'll be able to look over them, study for them. You can do really well on these tests as well. So let's see, that's 30, 50, 60% of your grade is from the tests, and the rest, the 40%, comes from the other items. Which calculator will be used of this course in calculus? Any graphing calculator. The TI-84 has the most resources that are currently available. I'm working to create some resources for the Casio FX CG50 because it's a cheaper calculator, but actually a better calculator, a little easier to use. So if you've got a Casio, Casios work great. Any graphing calculator, because what we use it for is you graph something and we're going to be able to solve equations and solve problems through the graph. Okay. What else? Any other questions? No questions. Okay, so then the way this course works is for the Zoom meeting, from here on out, I'm pretty quiet. You're going to have to ask questions, and we'll work with you. We'll pull up questions and we'll help you work through questions. Actually, the IAs will, and I'll work with them as well. Like I said, I think I'm missing one IA because I didn't get the Zoom link to him, the new one we have. But we will work together on solving problems. What I'm planning to do on Wednesday is to do a practice run through of taking a test. I'm going to put in a practice test that's not worth any points, but on the test you have to use a lockdown browser, and that has to get downloaded. We have to make sure it works with your system, and then you go in and you take the test. So I want to walk everybody through that. And so Wednesday, we'll go through sort of a practice run for like, it should only take us 15 or 20 minutes. And then you'll go, can we relearn a topic that was on the initial knowledge check? Yes, anything that you didn't have, the initial knowledge check works by basically figuring out what you have as far as mastered, and then it locks those. If you didn't learn it or you didn't show it as learned, then that's what you'll be working on to learn. And every test does have a review. So we go to this, back to our Canvas course, and you'll see down here, problem sets are blank at this time, so don't worry about it, but there's these test topics with study guides. So what I suggest doing, now they've got the test one possible topics. These are a listing of all the topics in objective one. Don't use that to study from. That's like 120 topics. But they do have this PDF with 31 questions, I think it is. So there's 31 questions in here and answers, and they will take the 11 test questions from these types of questions. Okay. In the future, let's see, do we get to review? So that answers the question. Every test does have a review of about 30 questions or more. You practice with them, and then 11 of the questions will come from there. The future, will our Zoom meetings be all math questions people ask? What if the questions people ask are far ahead of us? And that's one of the things. We'll have some breakout rooms. And the idea is that we're not just going to have you sitting here in Zoom watching people or watching me work questions that may or may not be of interest to you. The goal is at this time you would come in, you would be working on your ALEKS, your topics, and people, as they have questions, will just ask either myself or the IA. We will come work with you through that problem, and then we will go on to the next person. So you may find some things that are helpful in here and some things that are not. That's just kind of how it goes, but everybody will have their chance to ask questions as they get them. Otherwise, you just work on ALEKS. I don't take attendance, so I don't know whether you're here or not here. But if you need to be here, this is one of the resources. This is the time we're available. This same link will also work for my 2 earlier classes. One it starts at 11:50, and then the other starts at 12:55. So you're welcome to come in and join one of those and get some help on anything you might be struggling on. If we do poorly on a test, is there a way to make that up or retake? There are no retakes. There are no corrections to test questions. So it is one of those things where you really need to study beforehand. But remember, that's why we want you to take it right after you finish an objective, because that's when it's all going to be fresh in your mind. Study for it and then take it. I do review them. So occasionally there are some partial credit I can give. Your answer, you might have left something out, or you were close and ALEKS didn't catch all the partial credit. So I do review them for that. But other than that, you get one attempt at each exam, and there's no revisions of them. But that's why the first test has a lower percentage. I think it's 10%. The others are 15, and then the final is 20. What else do you got? What other questions? The final is not based on all 307. It's based on just objectives 2, 3, and 4. Objective 1, once you finish that and take its test, you won't see those objectives directly tested on again. So the first 121 topics are not going to be on the final. No. However, just as math sort of builds on it, they might be incorporated in needing to be able to use them in the other topics, but those the first objective topics, those do not appear on the final. So you're looking at a little under 200 topics, but again, there is a study guide for the final exam as well. So when you get to studying for it, you'll see the final exam the 16 questions that are on the final exam are, oh, they changed it. It was, let's see. Oh, I clicked in the wrong place up here. This PDF is the actual practice test. So you'll see they got this, and they take these out of ALEX. So this is what the test is drawn from. Let's see how many they have. So they have 48 questions. So the 16 questions on the final come from these 48. Okay, time goal and topic goal. Topic goal is what you want to focus on. That's how many topics you made. Time goal is just a way they do track that, but that's just that if you're not making your time goal, we look at that and you should at least be making your time goal. Okay, it doesn't factor into the grades, but it's just an indication. Say you worked for 3 hours, but you didn't make your topic goal. We're going to say, well, you know, you really should have been putting in 8 to 9 hours. That's the expectation. You'll see that. So, you know, you need to do that to make the topic goals. However, if you put in 8 to 9 hours and you still didn't make your topic goals, we know to work with you with something, and we know at least you're putting in the effort. But as far as the grades, the topic goal is the only one that directly affects the grade. But they're both due Sunday night, 11:59. ALEX, it's all timed within ALEX. ALEX records that and then carries them forward and syncs them into Canvas. Okay. 6:48. So we have about 20 minutes. What I'm going to do is, if there are no further questions, or at least if you don't have any questions, I'm going to encourage you to get started on working in ALEX, either the initial knowledge check. If you haven't done that yet, we really need that done as soon as possible, because I do use that to kind of see where everyone's at. I'm going to take a look at it in the morning. Hopefully everyone's taken it, but definitely we need it done this week. We need that initial knowledge check done this week. And you need to get it done so that as you start working on topics, you're able to get those 35 topics done for this first week. Okay, and then we're all happy. So I'm gonna let you go ahead, get working on it. Just remember, pop back on Wednesday. We'll do a practice run through of what the tests will look like, just so you're ready. You don't make it, we'll put something for you to do maybe later, but we want to make sure your technology is all working for when you actually do go to take a test. Okay. And there's still time to ask a question if you'd like. Either chime in or type it in the chat. So
I have one more question.
Yes.
So if like I'm doing my my like ALEX, if I'm doing my topics,
Yes.
If I get stuck on a question, where should I go? You might have already answered this, but where should I go to like figure that out?
It depends. If you're working on it here in class, that's kind of why we're here. That's really what this class is for. This time period is then you have myself and the IAs. We would work with you. The other option is posting. You could take a screenshot, post it into the discussion forum in Canvas, and let me show you that while I'm here. So we've got discussions. And I've got these set up, so if your question's on objective 1, you could post it here. If it's on objective 2, you post them by objectives. You're able to either just post a question by hitting reply, or you could even paste the question itself in there and say, you know, put in what you did, what your question is, and then someone can get back to you. There's also some tutoring available, some virtual tutoring available from ASU. By going to the virtual tutoring, I thought we had that link here. I guess it's not. I will get the link put on the left here that will get you into the Tutor Center. But that's the other option.
Thank you.
Yeah, but Alex is a little strange. Sometimes it won't let you move forward until you get that done. And so, yeah, until you get, it's 3 in the morning, you just can't move forward till that next one gets done. But that's the idea. So some people will say, so I don't have to come to these. And I said, well, that's your choice. You don't. If you're not going to lose points for not coming, you're not going to gain points for coming, but it's a resource where we can interact live. And as you work through things, we can start answering some questions. If you had some, maybe you got through things, but you wanted to know some basic understanding on something, we can work with you on that. And there's myself, and we've got 3 IAs. We'll have them out in the breakout rooms. So with 4 of us, even though there's 100, over 100 of you, 103, with 4 of us, there typically is always one of us, at least one of us available that you can ask a question. We spend 5-10 minutes, and then you're moving forward again. And that's the goal. So if we do that 3 times a week, you will typically make some good progress. If you want to meet during some of the other times, you could be getting that help 3 hours a week, 3 hours a day for 3 times a week. That's 9 hours a week of guided help. That can be very powerful. And again, that's what we're here for. Don't worry about overworking us. I haven't seen any of us overworked yet. Okay. We sometimes get bored because all we get to do is sit around waiting for questions. Notes are not allowed on exams. That's correct. Yeah, you don't get any notes, just a scratch paper, but no notes. Okay, so get off to the races, get working in your Alex. And again, Wednesday we'll do a quick check. Can I use calculator on the initial knowledge check? Yeah, you can use calculator on the initial knowledge check. That's good. Have a good evening yourself. Calculators are always available on the, calculators are always allowed, but bring your own, definitely. Have a great evening. Feels like Friday, but it's not. It's just Monday, isn't it? You're not recorded while taking the exams because we'll have you in breakout rooms, but you are proctored. So we have either myself or one of the IAs watching your video. So when you take the exams, you'll need your video on, and we're going to be so that we can proctor that it's you taking the exam. Okay. Yes, and calculators are allowed even on the proctored exams. They're allowed, calculators are allowed every time, everywhere. Good questions. Main thing is to get comfortable this first week, and then we'll get kicking into high gear. We've got time ahead of us, but it does tend to go quickly. But oh, of course, yes. You can, so you're welcome to come and go as you need to. Just remember, we're here for you. And we can only take exams during the Zoom hours so that we can be proctored. That is exactly correct. Exams will be taken during this Zoom hour. However, you could come into one of my others and we can proctor you in one of my other classes as well. But as it is right now, all exams are proctored during class time. And sometimes that's the only time I might see you. If you're working well on your own, that's perfectly fine. You study, and then you let me know it's ready for an exam. You come in, and that's it. And yes, the exams are graded, marked right and wrong. The topics are not. You just keep going until you get them right. So, but the exams are, you'll get a percentage grade on them. Yes, when we need a video, you need something with video. You need a webcam of some sort in order to be proctored for the exams. We have worked with, if you don't have one on there, if you have a phone, there is a Zoom app. You could use your phone to show the video. I have done that before. While because you'll have a lockdown browser on your computer, but if you don't have a webcam for your computer, we'll work with that. Okay. And yes, I'll remind you about exams. You have ways to check. Again, each of you will be taking exams at different times, but definitely I will remind you as the due dates approach, and so forth. And there really is no extra credit. What the extra credit is the participation point, and I'm very generous with that, but they do not allow any extra credit. So it really is, but again, one thing I do is, as long as you finish up the topics, I can go back and I'll make sure your topic goals are manually adjusted. So we'll make it good for you as long as you're able to finish the 307 topics. But no extra credit. Okay. So about 10 minutes. So I'll just hang out here, and about 10 minutes, I'll close down the meeting. And I'll just watch for any questions that might pop up. Thank you, Jessica. You have a good evening too. For those who finish up early, you could then take a higher level in the B session. If you want to try to get it done this week, you would need to retake the placement test and work with your advisor on that. So it tells you, yeah, you did pretty good, but they do that based off the placement test. Yes, you of course are free to leave if you don't have the test or anything else. And if you're here, great. If you're not here, there's no penalty. So that's all your choice. The recorded videos do not have subtitles. And from here on out, there's really not much about recording because it'll just be individual questions. How can I find the slope? Do we need to buy some books? And no books are needed because there is a ebook inside the system, inside of Alex. So no need for an additional book. Okay, let me come back to that question. How can I find the slope? So after we complete this course, we retake the placement test? No, because once you take this test, then that gives you the prerequisite for the next courses. Someone's question was they wanted to know if they could just jump out of this class into the next class. And they don't do that. That person would have to do it now is they would have to take a placement test now and then be able to get into another class that's already started. But if you finish this class up early, before the B session, good evening, then you can take the next class, whatever that is. Okay, so my suggestion is to finish this course up, get it done early, get the grade posted there, and earn an A+, why not? And then take a B session class. Everyone have a good evening. What I'm going to do is my other class. so time goal. Time goal means the amount that you're expected to work in the class each week. So it may or may not be appropriate for your particular. You may work faster. You might need might need a few more hours, but it's an indication of about how much you should expect to work. But you don't. Again, some people don't. Okay, so let's see. Mohammed, are you still there? Yes, you're still there, aren't you? Thank you. Yeah, y equals mx plus b. Okay, so slope is exactly, so if we've got a line, we get 2 points on that line, x1, y1, x2, y2. And what we do is the slope is the ratio of the change in the y's. So this vertical change would be y2 minus y1 divided by the horizontal change, which will be x2 minus x1. So that's our slope. So we subtract the y values in the top, subtract the x values in the bottom, and that gives us our slope. And again, what that's all working towards is this linear equation. Straight line equation always has an equation, the slope times x plus some b. And b is some constant. And again, what b is I don't know, here's our xy, it would be the y-intercept. And you're right, all the homework that you need to do is in ALEX. There are a couple worksheets, there are 4 worksheets we will have during the semester. That's another 10%. Those are in Canvas, but for right now, don't worry about those. Just focus on the ALEX homework. Work through the ALEX 307 topics. That's really all you have to focus on at this point. Mohammed, that work? Okay, good. So that's slope. That's what we call slope. I work with my calculus students on this too, because it'll take you all the way through. Okay, so this is the idea of slope. They also call it average rate of change. So slope, average rate of change. Use W to represent the weight in pounds of a piece of luggage can be checked in. Okay, so we got another question being thrown at us. This is good. So let's see, if I bring this over here, I know you'll see who it is. Can you all see that question? Actually, let me do this. So we don't see so people can keep putting in the chat. I'm going to paste it in here. There it is. Let's move it up. Okay. So there's this question. Each piece of luggage will be checked must not weigh more than 60 pounds. So 60 pounds is the maximum. The luggage, which we're going to represent the weight of the luggage as W. What's the relationship between 60 and W? Well, depends on where you put it. Let's put it here. If W's here, W has to be less than 60, but no more than 60. So it could be equal to 60, right? It could be equal to 60. W has to be less than or equal to 60. Now in the same setting, if you would have put W over here, then we would have said W has to be smaller than 60 or equal to 60. So we could use this symbol. That's what the inequalities can be confusing at times because it depends on what side you put the variable. Okay. But either of those answers would be correct. W is less than or equal to 60 pounds. Otherwise, you're going to pay a fee. Okay. How's that? See, we can use this. We can, and I can even make it so you could share your screen if need be, or we can look up Alex's questions. You can type them into the chat. There's a lot of things we can do to work collaboratively together to get your questions answered. And all questions are good questions. The only bad question is the one we didn't ask. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, you can also send questions to me through email. What would be best though is if you do them through the discussion forum, then the IAs are also going to be paying attention there, and you will generally get quicker answers, and also they might be good questions that other people have. So I encourage you to do it through the discussion forum, but some people need a quick question, so email's a little bit quicker because I do get those. So you can send them through email, and if they're well, you know, if they need a more of an explanation, I could even make a short video and send you a video. So yes, please, as questions arise, get them to us, either through email, through the Canvas course. We want to hear them, we want to help you. However, if you send me a question, but then 10 minutes later you solve it, please also send me a question, an email that you did solve it, because so then I don't have to go through and solve it, because sometimes it takes me a while to get to them. But yes, please feel free, ask the questions at any time. Excellent, Lay. Have a good day too. Thank you, Mohammed. Thank you very much, everyone. It's been great working with you. Stay safe, be well. There you are, Robert. There's so many people, I lose track. And Erica, thank you for showing up. We have one more IA. I'm not sure if I got him into this meeting or not, but we'll get them working together. So.
This meeting, I was mainly on Alex looking at the people who failed their topics, and I messaged them helping them. Is that okay?
That is great. Yes.
Not sure if they checked the messages, but I was very thorough.
Wonderful, wonderful. This is, yeah, any way you can see of helping them. What I wait is for that first initial knowledge check, and then I kind of group the students by where they are in the course. And I know and I try to do it by where they're at, because those at the from 0 to say 50 topics, they're going to have different kind of questions than those who are almost done with the course. So, and then we want to work with them and see, and because, you know, it's this, with this technology, they're just, it's frustrating for them. They're not quite sure what to do. But if we contact them first, that'll help them. Ziwin, are you the new IA? I got an email from someone earlier
Yeah,
today.
that's me. I think that's me.
That's you, okay. So it's great to have you on board. I'm glad you were able to make it. So yeah, this first week, it's just kind of like we're all getting our things and come up with great ideas, you know, ways that you can use your time that will just help them be successful. That's really what we want to do. We don't want to burden you with, you know, you've only got 3 hours assigned. That's not a lot. We don't want you working more. We don't want a heavy load on you, your students too. But anything you can do creatively to help our students kind of make progress, I'm going to say yes, yes, yes. Okay, so thank you. Thank you, Erica. Robert, and did I get that? Zuin?
You can just call me Wen.
Win. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Very good. Well, thank you guys. I guess since it's only us, we can call it a day. I'm going to work on making up like a practice test for them so that they can figure out if their lockdown browser's working and all that kind of stuff. And we'll do a run through on Wednesday. I tried it a little earlier with one of my other classes, and then that will get us using breakout rooms, and we'll be able to have more effect with the students. Okay. So thank you for being here.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See ya.
See you Wednesday.